Thanks for checking out this video. Now, this is a video I'm very excited for. I had a lot of fun putting thought into this one, and you may ask yourself, how did this come about? Now, I have a video on my channel from a few years ago now of all the Masters of Horror seasons 1 and 2 episodes or stories uh, ranked, and I give my reasons on why I rank them that way. And every now and then I have someone else who watches it for the first time, and they put a comment on there about, it sucks that Masters of Horror isn't around anymore, blah, blah, blah. So, subscriber Stephanie Gore, I have to give her credit for this one. Stephanie Gore posed a very interesting question. Honestly, I think this is one of the best questions anyone's asked me recently on my channel. And that was, if you bought the Masters of Horror rights, basically, and you were going to make a third season, what directors would you get to do stories for that new season? And that just sent my head just going. I'm not kidding you when I say that on and off for days, I was thinking about this and taking notes and being like, yeah, I would do this director, I'd do this director. So I was like, you know what? I just need to do a video about it because I would love to get other people's creative juices going and start you thinking about who would your ideal directors be. And you can put it down in the comments, whether you want it to be as many as I'm going to do, or you just want it to be a lot shorter, or make up your own rules about it too. So my rules I set for myself because I had some sort of parameters. The director has to be alive. The director has to have made something in the 2000s because I wanted something kind of newer-ish. And the director had to have not done any Masters of Horror in the past. So those were my parameters for it. So let me get into it. Oh, I also said that I was going to do 13 because 13 is the right number for this. So the first 3 people might see coming. After that, people may not see it coming. So I think my list is pretty solid. Believe me when I say I put a lot into it. Anyway, the first one, everyone probably sees this coming, Jordan Peele. Would love to see what Jordan Peele would do in something like Masters of Horror. Obviously, he's best known for his movies like Get Out and Us, which I'm one of very few people who liked Us more than Get Out. I liked Get Out. I really liked Us. So I would just love to see what Jordan Peele would have to do with Masters of Horror. Second one, director I greatly respect and love what he does. He's got his own feel to things, and it's very intense and interesting and different, and that's Ari Aster, obviously most known for doing Hereditary and Midsommar, so would love to see what Ari Aster would do. The third one I have is Robert Eggers, best known for The Witch and The Lighthouse. I thought those were very interesting tales, period pieces too, so I would want to see if maybe he would inject some interesting period piece horror into Masters of Horror. Plus, his style's great. I think that's one of the big things. I love the style of everyone that I put on this list. My next one, people might not see coming. Gigi Saw Guerrero. She did Culture Shock, which I haven't seen yet, but I heard wonderful things about Culture Shock. She's done a bunch of stuff, but I first experienced her by watching her short film El Gigante, which was on Shudder. It may actually still be on Shudder. You might want to check that. Really great concept. I would love for that to become a much longer story. So I'm thinking something in that vein she could do for Masters of Horror, or just whatever she feels like doing. She has a fun style that's very heavy on gore too. So I think that would be a lot of fun. So that's why I choose Gigi Saw Guerrero. Sorry. My next one is Jorgos Lanthamos. Now, if you're not familiar with Jorgos Lanthamos, he's done films like Dogtooth, which may still be on Shudder, and The Killing of a Sacred Deer. He has this weird style of everything feels very disconnected from reality and awkward and weird, but at the same time creepy and intense. And it's always interesting. It's disturbing. It's unsettling. And I like what he does. So I would like to see him inject that into Masters of Horror. So Jorgos Lanthamos. My next one, Karen Kusama, who did the films Jennifer's Body and The Invitation. 2 wonderful, wonderful films. Would love to see more in the vein of either of those from Karen Kusama. I think she's a great stylistic director. And yeah, I would just love to see something in either of those veins, Jennifer's Body or The Invitation, which I do want to do a review of Jennifer's Body soon. It's on Hulu at the moment when I'm doing this video, so I plan to do that. That's a great underappreciated gem. So yeah, Karen Kusama. My next one is Remy Weeks, and it's all based off the one film that everyone knows from Remy Weeks, which is on Netflix, and it is His House. I don't get scared or creeped out watching movies, but Remy Weeks actually scared me. Like, that film, I would actually categorize is scary. His House is scary. It's very well shot. It also has really good jump scares. None of them are like cliche crappy jump scares, like legit good jump scares. And the topic was very interesting and very thought provoking, and just the way it was executed was phenomenal. So I'd love to see Remy Weeks do something. My next one is a team of two guys who work together. That's the only way they work. And that's Scott Beck and Brian Woods. Now, these are the guys who wrote the script for A Quiet Place, which I thought was a very interesting concept and done quite well. A lot of people think that John Krasinski wrote A Quiet Place. He did direct it. He does star in it. He did not write it. Scott Beck and Brian Woods wrote it. So this is one of the things I have problems with people not attributing correctly who did what with a film. And a lot of times, to be honest, the writers are just an afterthought. Like, people don't even care who the writer is. But you gotta consider the script is where it all starts. So anyway, they did the script for A Quiet Place, and they wrote and directed the film Haunt together, which I believe is also still on Shudder, and you should check that out. They have a more of like a relaxed, fun style, but it looks really good, and they take some interesting approaches to like new situations for horror films. So I'd love to see what they could do there. Then Chanwick Park, one of my favorite all-time directors, best known obviously for the film Old Boy, which is a masterpiece in my opinion, but also you may have known him from the film Stoker, which was his first English language film. Pretty good film, not as good as what he did prior with Old Boy, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Lady Vengeance, all that stuff. Would love to see whatever he would come up with. He usually writes his own scripts and then directs them, and very, 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 very purposeful in everything he does, and you can see that in the translation of the film that ends up in front of your eyes. Just beautiful style. So, like I said, so purposeful about everything. Just amazing. So yeah, Chanwick Park. My next one is Oz Perkins. Now, people may know him more recently from the film Gretel and Hansel, which I have not seen yet, but heard very good things about, and I do plan to see soon. But I know him most for his film The Blackcoat's Daughter, which is phenomenal. Now, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone if they haven't seen The Blackcoat's Daughter. You should see it for sure. The type of film that film actually is, you don't get it until the end of the film, and it's typically a kind of subgenre within horror that I don't enjoy at all. So the fact that he injected new life into something like that and made me really appreciate it, love that film, it speaks volumes, really. His style is amazing. The way he does pacing is so good. He also wrote and directed that. So, yeah, so Oz Perkins is another one of mine. My third to last, Pascal Lagier. Now, if you're not familiar with Pascal Lagier, he did Incident in a Ghost Land, which is on Shudder still, I believe. You should definitely check that out. Best known, though, for doing the original Martyrs film, which is a French language film. Not the American version, which I've heard is bad. I won't even watch it. But Pascal Lagier would be the person to inject the most brutality into, not just brutality, but just like hopelessness and depressing material into something like Masters of Horror. That's what he does. He comes from a very dark place. His stuff is very intense. It is very dark, and it's sometimes hard to watch. So if you haven't seen Martyrs, you haven't seen Incident in Ghostland, definitely check those out. So that's why I choose Pascal Lagier for this one. Second to last one, Joko Anwar. I recently became aware of Joko Anwar because of the stuff that Shudder's put on of his, including Satan's Slaves, which I have not watched yet, but I've heard great things about. I keep meaning to get to it, and it just things jump ahead of it on my list of things to watch. But I did watch Impetigore by him, which is phenomenal. Also, The Queen of Black Magic, which was actually a remake of a film he had done earlier. But, oh man, style for days from Joko Anwar. Anwar really knows how to like slowly build tension and dread, and then deliver on it. That's a big thing. A lot of directors know how to like slowly build tension and dread, but then they don't deliver on it. He delivers on it. And the twists that he puts in films, especially a film like Impetigore, I didn't see it coming. It is dark, but it is impressive. And you're just like, whoa. It makes you go places that you didn't know you were going to be taken and you didn't know you would be okay going to. So yeah, so that's why I choose Joko Anwar as my second to last. And my final one, a lot of people probably didn't even see this, don't see this coming, and a lot of people don't even know, probably don't know who this is. Eli Craig. Now, Eli Craig did the film Little Evil on Netflix. If you have not seen it, you definitely need to check it out. It's a horror comedy, and that's mainly what Eli Craig, what I would have him in the Masters of Horror Season 3 for, is doing a horror comedy. You need a horror comedy. You need a bunch of different horror stuff showing up there. So he would deliver very well with horror comedy. Because like I said, Little Evil's on there. It's based on Netflix. Watch it. It's basically a parody of The Omen, done quite well. It's very funny. I highly recommend it. But he also did, and everyone will know this film when I say it, Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Obviously super funny. Obviously really well done. So you know his chops with Tucker and Dale versus Evil. So that horror comedy would be very well handled there. So that's my list of 13 directors. I would love to hear your opinions on who do you think I picked that would be great. Who do you think I picked that you'd be like, I don't know. And give me some reasons. Don't just say, I like this one, I don't like that one. But more importantly, what I want from you is the comment with who you would put in a season 3 of Masters of Horror, director-wise. Or if you even want to go writers, like even go that far, go ahead and do that too. Actors, anything. And make up your own rules, but just let me know what they are. Do as many as you want. You don't have to do 13. You can do, 5. You can do 3, 1. It doesn't even matter. Who would you like to see? I'm interested. Also, if on the very rare occasion that Mick Garris ends up seeing this, you are phenomenal. I love that we have, as a horror community, speaking for the horror community, we're very thankful to have had Masters of Horror. And I feel like we were thankful to also get Nightmare Cinema because it felt like a continuation of Masters of Horror, and I love that. And I know we're all holding out hopes that one day Masters of Horror could make a return. I know it's not up to you, Mick. We wish it was, because I'm sure that you would make that happen because you're very passionate about that. Also, I love your podcast, Postmortem with Mick Garris. Everyone should check that out. He does a great job interviewing other professionals in the horror business. So anyway, that's all I have to say about this. I had a great time with it. It was really fun. Put the comments down there. Do me a favor too. Hit subscribe, please. That's your way to support me and support my channel. I'm not taking money. I'm not making money doing this. It's just a fun thing that I created to interact with other nerdy horror folks. So join the community. Hit the subscribe button. Regardless, though, I really thank you for taking your time to watch this. I appreciate that. And until next time, keep it brutal.